He's a violent man with a violent past, but he hides it well with a professional smile. So it didn't make sense to research Shakespeare, Kipling, or Chaucer. See, Billa Barber is not suave. He's not a performer. He's raw, his vulnerability is pure, and he's a lyrical genius. So I studied these flamboyant modern day poets like the notorious P.I.G., Ice Cube, and of course the mighty Marshall Mathers. So it was less of shall I compare thee to a summer's day, and it was more of we used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wonder why Christmas.
This is how a lazy day writing setup looks like. ये चीज़ याद है? I'm glad ये हमारे schools में नहीं थी. The greatest thing about schools was desks and what we did on them and under them. This is my neat little footrest and this is the workstation. Yeah. And a pair of
बोल रहे हो कि आप अपनी जिंदगी से बोर हुए, right? You got bored and then you decided to direct or channelize your boredom into something different, right?
This is
Into
another
something.
that I have known 35, 40, or 50-year-olds who are still asking this question.
Correct.
What is the purpose of my life? And I was like, bhai, tera gaya piche purpose. So, and if they ask that, what's the meaning of life? And I sometimes, while having these conversations, I tell them that there is no meaning to your life. वो offend हो जाते हैं मेरी लाइफ का मीनिंग नहीं है मैं इतना
Uh-huh.
स्पेशल हूँ initially in the early stages, there's a lot of peacocking. The guy puts up a show,
Yeah.
and even the girl puts up a show, right?
Yeah.
There's a
और
facade that they chant.
उनकी नजर में आप अपने आप को बहुत अंडर क्रेडिट कर रहे हो बिकॉज लेयर वन शायद बहुत कम लोगों का माइंडसेट है and which is
नहीं,
amazing and that is what reflects in your writing because like every time you're going to अपने आप को एकदम नॉर्मल दिखाओगे ना तो every time I'm going to just stop you and say कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं है because most of the people are my kind of thinkers, right? और बोलते हैं शायद उनको
I would love to know.
even though I'm not a reader, I
Right.
think I'd love to meet Minerva and
Oh
I'd love to
wow!
meet Billa Barber. No, I'm serious.
Right.
I'm serious because मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्ट होगा ये बिल्ला बार्बर के सॉन्ग्स में कि ये कैसे मतलब लोगों की स्टोरीज जो भी
Be
सीक्रेट्स
very
हैं
careful because you might give him another song.
yeah, you never know, right? You never know, and that would be great. That would be great if I become one of his inspirations too. But and then this girl Minerva, right? मतलब काफी इंटरेस्टिंग एस्पेक्ट है उसकी इंसेनिटी में भी कैसे वो इतनी हाउ शी सो इम्पैक्टफुल कि उसने एक सेम थेरेपिस्ट को ड्राइव कर लिया अपनी तरफ टू एक्चुअली बिकम हिज मेंटर एंड देन इवेंचुअली मे बी जस्ट form a relationship of what which is a blurred relationship yet to explore, yet to know from your book. Hello, everyone. Welcome to I Have Got a Vibe, a space where we explore ideas, stories, and people who don't fit neatly into boxes. Now, today's guest is someone whose work lives at the edge of reality, where psychology meets magic, and where fictions question sanity, where stories sometimes demand to be sung, not just read. My guest today is Abhimanyu Jamwal. Born into a family of the police, trained in law, Abhimanyu eventually stepped away from conventional paths to pursue fiction, a space where he could ask deeper, stranger, and more uncomfortable questions. He is the author of Beyond Three Words, Saath, and his most recent work, Songs of a Barber's Tuesday, a book that experiments with rhythm, voice, and the act of reading itself. Abhimanyu, welcome to I've Got a Vibe. It's really nice to have you here. How
Thank
do
you
you
for having.
feel?
I feel I have never been introduced like that before. It was really yes, it was good.
No, no, absolutely. See, firstly, you belong to Jammu and Kashmir. I think we both have a common city to share. And I
Yes.
think, that kind of also shows my enthusiasm to, connect with you because you've done such nice work out there. I mean, there's one more person which you've, introduced to reading, and that person's me. So I feel like, these are I mean, this is a wonderful way of just presenting, um, your thoughts in a book. If not your thoughts, but then your stories in the form which is going to be like really exciting for people. I'd love to delve into your life. थोड़ा बहुत आपकी जिंदगी के बारे में जानना चाहेंगे हम. So, you were trained in law, and then you were born into a family which was connected to the police, which was both very structured and kind of rule driven, right? So, आपको कब, when did you really realize that these spaces were like not really for you, like maybe they were just too restrictive for the questions you wanted to ask? कब लगा आपको ये बात?
Uh, it was when I faced the same old, good old stupid question, what's my purpose? I think something that every young man or a woman faces at some point of life. And it was writing just entered my life and it didn't answer that question. It kind of put full stop to that. It was more like, writing told me, stop asking dumb questions. So I realized at that point of time that it is very foolish to ask such questions. What is the purpose of, what's the meaning of life? This is another that I have known 35, 40, or 50-year-olds who are still asking this question.
Correct.
What is the purpose of my life? And I was like, bhai, tera gaya piche purpose. So, and if they ask that, what's the meaning of life? And I sometimes, while having these conversations, I tell them that there is no meaning to your life. वो offend हो जाते हैं मेरी life का meaning नहीं है मैं इतना
Uh-huh.
special हूँ. So,
Correct.
I mean, you just have to. I shifted to writing because मैं बोर हो गया था अपनी लाइफ से. There is no other explanation to that. And I cannot even romanticize my life because it wasn't like, oh, I always wanted to be a writer, or I want to follow my passion. All these things never crossed my mind. One day before sleeping, I was a lawyer. Next morning, I was a writer, and I was looking up and I was like, wow, ye kya kiya? Ab main kya karu?
Right.
After that, and that was 15 and a half, 16 years ago. And after that point, it was all, about submitting to it. That this is your truth. You just know it. And then you just submit to it. Then you don't counter question or, delve into such rabbit holes that why was I born, or what is the meaning of all of this. It's all human arrogance. It's stupidity to think that we are something really special. आप
Correct.
आए थे, आप खाओ पियो सो जाओ.
हाँ.
आप
हाँ.
अगर सेहत का ख्याल रखोगे 70-80 साल तक खाओगे पियोगे और सोओगे. तो
जी.
उसके बीच में everyone should pick a responsibility, either cultural or social. It can be anything. You can wear a uniform. You can pick a gun and protect your nation. You can pick a jhadu and clean your nation. You can. I picked up the pen, and there's nothing to feel special about. You just go through it.
No, but Abhimanyu, I think your words have been wonderful. But मैं ये भी मानती हूँ कि आप काफी humble हो, because you're not treating is that this thing is special. Let me put it this way. जब आप बोल रहे हो कि आप अपनी जिंदगी से बोर हुए, right? You got bored and then you decided to like, direct or channelize your boredom into something different, right? Into something which was more productive. I think that's worthy of praise. I think that's really innovative. I mean, that's purposeful, if I may say. Do you think that's another aspect which makes sense to you or not? Because I know you've got like really different thought process, and I appreciate it, but that's how I see it. I mean, आपको लगता है कि आपने, क्योंकि यूजुअली लोग बोर्डम को या एक सर्टन फील्ड में सक्सेसफुल नहीं होने को विक्टिमाइज भी कर देते हैं, बट यू डिडंट विक्टिमाइज योरसेल्फ, यू टर्न्ड इट इनटू समथिंग व्हिच इज वाओ. आई मीन, लेट मी पुट इट दिस वे. तो आपको लगता है कि आप शायद अपने आप को थोड़ा अंडर क्रेडिट भी कर रहे हो?
I think the whole act of giving myself credit, it doesn't cross my mind.
Yeah, I see
Okay,
that.
if you as a third person is doing that, or you get to know about because I have done that to writers. I have idolized them. I have idolized actors. So when I do that to them, I don't think that ये भी अपने लिए वैसे ही सोच रहा होगा. Because
Sure.
it's going through, for me, I really enjoy what I do, but it's also going through hellfire. I know that. So, and there, it takes me to places so dark that, I do know certain people who might not ever recover from that. So,
Wow.
when you know all of this and you go into the depths of human mind, so it's credit. Okay, if other, I do believe in, certain things that humans are either incapable, or they just so casually call them a method or process. What's your writing process? I do believe that some things are magical. And
Yeah.
am I being humble by saying I am not one of them? Maybe from another person's
Yeah.
perspective, maybe.
Yeah.
But I do know what I do involves certain kind of alchemy, which is not a normal man's job, if you know what I mean. It's
Right.
not.
Right.
Yeah. So right now, yes, you can go on AI or even Google, not even AI. You do a normal search of how to write or do all of these things. You'll get the
Correct.
process. You'll get the
Correct.
tools.
Correct.
But I can also give a football shoe or spikes to a kid and say, go compete and become the best runner in the world. It's not possible. There are
Yeah.
only few people chosen for a certain profession or
Yes.
job. So when they do it, for them, it's normal. But I do understand that, for someone else to conjure something out of thin air, it requires a certain level of alchemy. So
Of course, it
it's
does.
sometimes in hindsight, I do feel, ki, हाँ, I've done a few cool things, but that just gets over like that, and then I just move on to the next project
No,
that
but
I'm
that's
doing.
that's the greatest part, I believe. Wahi cheez hai which is making you different because your progress is not really stopping at one. Only because you are enjoying your wins, but at the same time you're not letting them just rule, your world or your personality, and that's where your non-arrogant attitude also comes in from, I believe, because you're just choosing
I'm
to be progressive over arrogant,
I'm
over victories.
I am only 37, and I've only written 3 books. There are 70-year-olds who have written so much. So
Yeah.
I think I've got a lot to do right now.
No, that's fabulous. I think these are the people
Yeah.
you should be inspired by because I mean, at least I know
Yes.
a lot of people who just run crowns and like, ads over their single victory. And I think what is keeping you moving is this humility of yours. Having said that, I also believe there's you are worthy of credit, at least coming, from people like us. I believe, I mean, we totally need to appreciate and bring forth the fact that it is only your humility which is making you the way you are, but you don't have less wins in your bag. Let me put it this way.
Thank you so much. That was really sweet of you to say.
No, that's absolutely true, though. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, my audience, and everyone around is going to be agreeing to what I'm saying. Um, all right. When you really turned into fiction, um, did you feel like it was an escape? And I think it might just sound a little repetitive, but um, did you feel like it was an escape from your so-called, disciplined life or your so-called, if I may say, monotonous life? Was it like
Yeah,
an escape
I
for
will
you?
choose the latter because I was never disciplined. I still am not disciplined at all. That word just, passes me like anything. But
Right.
monotonous, yes. It was more like survival. So I think every human being after death, a thing that he or she fears the most is going mad. Will I lose my bearing? A lot of people think about it sometimes that, will I lose my shit if if I don't get the thing that I want to do, or if I, you get what I'm trying to say. There
I
are
think
points
so.
in life where a person, either through external situations or the internal condition, does face that, does walk into that park and sees that gate, and beyond which you don't know what there is, but
Mm-hmm.
it's called insanity, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you just so in my darker days, where
Mm-hmm.
I was directionless, I
Mm-hmm.
did visit that park. I did flirt around over there, not
Mm-hmm.
willingly, but you
Yeah.
you you end up in that area.
Yeah.
And immediately the response, my body and mental response was writing. It happened. I didn't, make it happen. It happened. And when that happened, so there was this, concrete wall between me and that door. I didn't build it, but it just came. And after that, I realized that writing is just about survival. I did not use it as therapy. I did not use
Mhm.
it as therapy at all, because
Okay.
it was more like an awakening. It happened,
Mhm.
and then I didn't have to think about it again, because
Mhm.
I knew in that very moment that अब दिमाग सेट है.
जी,
अब दिमाग सेट हो गया, तो अब बस थोड़ा बॉडी का ख्याल रखो, हेल्थ का ख्याल रखो, फिर देखेंगे जो होता है करते जाएंगे.
correct,
बट
correct.
yeah, so once you have overcome that fear of
Mhm.
madness,
Mhm.
and after that, writing fiction was just another, it was not escape, it was just, as I said, means of survival, but now
Yeah.
also a responsibility, because
Yeah.
I started doing it for literature, for the world of literature.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if मैंने ये बेड़ा उठाया है, so I want to do it with responsibility, and I use the word responsibility because that just makes you push a little harder, because then
Yeah.
you don't want to put casual work या चलता है work out there.
जी, जी, जी.
So I have forgotten how many times I have read and reread. I have forgotten how many times I have written and discarded novels that I'm never going to use. I have written thousands and thousands of words and just burnt them all because I knew it was forced. I was not, feeling it. And I was
Yeah.
just, for the heck, if I have to write, I can't just write anything and call it a novel and, just publish it. Till the time I felt that, okay, this is worthy of going out there.
Yeah.
And you are the only judge at that point of time, and I'm not big on asking people that, tell me, how do you feel about it.
Mhm.
Those
Mhm. Mhm.
beta readers, sure, people believe in them, but I don't.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it was survival, and then it became a kind of a cultural responsibility. I want to be a part of this culture, and I want to be known as this honest and responsible writer who makes your brain go into a soup.
That I can see. One more thing which I also believe is, I mean, I can definitely second this line of yours कि आप बहुत responsibly write करते हो, is because of the kind of words that you've been choosing, I mean, जैसे आपकी, this the latest book, which is Songs of Barber's Tuesday. I mean, singing while you're narrating this story is so interesting. I mean, you must have your words, which you must have chosen there, and which, of course, you bring up. We're going to talk more on this. They're so finely chosen. They're so finely written, right? So I'm sure आपको बहुत, like, a lot of retakes you must have, taken to,
Oh, yeah.
you know Hannah. So yeah, that I can definitely sense in terms of the choice of words that you've made also. No, that's fabulous. Again, aapki, your fiction, do you think it's, of course, you've been consistently working on psychology, morality, and surreal, right? So do you think this fiction is kind of allowing you to examine truth more freely?
Mm, how about this example?
Mm-hmm.
You can really relate it to the modern day dating, mating, and family scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So, initially in the early stages, there's a lot of peacocking. The guy puts up a show,
Yeah.
and even the girl puts up a show, right?
Yeah.
The, there's a facade that the Chand Tare Tod Launga wali vibes aayenge.
Yes.
And the girl is, beautiful, and, she's maintaining her beauty. The guy signals resources, and the woman signals purity and beauty, right?
Yeah.
Or that is all in it is very rare that it's all true in all cases. Most
Yeah.
of the time it's peacocking and it's a facade, and it's, think of it as fiction, right? I'm
Yeah.
just giving you
Hmm.
a scenario in front of you.
Hmm.
So, and then shadi ho jati hai because you believed in fiction, right? You went with the
Correct.
fiction part,
Hmm.
and loans बाहर आते हैं, EMIs बाहर आती हैं, और पुराने
Right. Right,
पुराने
right, right.
बॉयफ्रेंड्स बाहर आते हैं. And
Oh
so
God.
all that was, so
हाँ.
होता ये है कि आपके सामने सच की पिक्चर पेंट हो जाती है.
जी, 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 बिल्कुल.
That makes it interesting. So you
Yes, it
have
does. It does.
So you have to go to, you can do it the other way, be transparent and do it that way, that ऐसा है ठीक है, fine, yeah,
Hmm.
nothing wrong
Hmm.
in that,
हाँ,
but उसमें उसमें मजा नहीं ना,
मजा
उसमें
है, that I agree.
मजा आएगा कि जब आपको पता है कि यहाँ तो काम बड़ा ही खराब है, and
Correct.
then your love
हाँ,
gets tested or your
हाँ,
commitment gets tested,
हाँ.
or you can just turn your back and leave. But
Hmm.
सच का मजा आता तभी है जब वो थोड़ा वेंड
थोड़ा
वेंड वेंड
मिस्टीरियसली
होके आता
प्रेजेंट हो
है,
रहा है, हाँ,
या
करेक्ट.
थोड़ा शुगर कोट होके आएगा या
हम्म.
मसाले के साथ आएगा, बट देन
हम्म.
इवेंचुअली जब आपके सामने फाइनली सच आएगा तो आप उस सच के
हम्म.
साथ करोगे क्या? तो आई थिंक इट्स द सेम फिक्शन अलाउज यू टू डू दिस.
Yes, I agree. In fact, अच्छा एक चीज है, now that you brought up this example, I'd love to, also add up by saying कि do you think ये fiction हमारे पुराने बुजुर्गों को पहले ही पता होता था, because they always knew this is not the reality and something very different is lying for you post marriage? क्योंकि like the example of अरे ये तो थोड़ी देर का होता है, असली पता तो तभी चलता है once you get married, right? So I
Yes.
feel like somewhere ये चीजें सबकॉन्शियसली लोगों के माइंड में एम्बेडेड होती हैं, बट नाउ दैट यू प्रेजेंटिंग इट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ योर स्टोरी, जब आप इसको इतने इंटरेस्टिंग वे से प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो स्टोरी में, तो आप कहीं ना कहीं यू आर मेकिंग द व्यूअर्स सिट बिटवीन रियलिटी एंड फिक्शन ऑल्सो. कैन आई से दैट? Do you think that's
that's
happening? Because it's like an
that's my job.
unsaid truth also, but then like आप कई बार इसके इस चीज के डिनायल में होते हो, राइट? बिकॉज ऑफ द होल पीकॉकिंग concept that you're talking about, right?
Right.
But this is the reality too. But the fact that you've presented it in such an interesting way is what makes it really different. Do you think so?
I, I see again. You are speaking from layer two. I did what I had to do. Now it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
reactions that I'm getting.
Yeah, no, that's a मैं बता रही हूँ. This is, it'll be so interesting to know something like this, right? I mean, reality और fiction के बीच का. I think you are standing somewhere in between, if I may say, because there's partly, this is partly real too.
And
Can I say that?
I'll back it up with. I'm saying I'll back it up with another evidence.
Yeah.
I'll give you another evidence, and that
Hmm.
is that it is somewhere based on consumerism, the way we shop, the way we buy things,
Yes.
and the way we spend our money.
Hmm.
And we want ads. We know ये चीज बेकार है,
हाँ.
घटिया है,
हाँ.
but हम पैसे खर्चते हैं because we
बिल्कुल.
are desperately waiting for someone to fool us. Please trick
Yes.
us. Give
Yes.
us a
Please trick
sales
us.
pitch that blows our mind away. That
Yes.
makes
Yes.
me like I want this. इसी के साथ तो मेरी सोसाइटी में वो बनेगी या फिर वो
Correct.
होगा. I want to tell myself these lies. We are
Yes.
desperate.
Yes.
ह्यूमन माइंड इज अ वेरी विला बैठा है ना बेसिकली,
जी
क्योंकि
जी
अब
जी जी.
सर्वाइवल वाला नहीं है कि कोई दूसरे ट्राइब का आके आपके बीवी बच्चों को ले जाएगा, आपको लड़ना
करेक्ट.
पड़ेगा, वो सब नहीं
जी.
चल रहा है यहाँ पे.
हाँ, अभी
तो
नहीं हो रहा.
अब आपकी वॉर मेंटल है, आपको
हम्म.
अपने आप को सेन रखना है, वही वॉर है. तो ज्यादा
हम्म.
में फिर सोचता आदमी ज्यादा, तो उसमें इतनी ज्यादा स्ट्रेसफुल थिंकिंग में कोई अगर आपको आके अच्छा फील करा जाए तो आप तो वैसे
करेक्ट.
मुंह पे मारेंगे, ले जाए भाई ये ले.
Agree. I agree. I am sold here. I'm sold.
द
No,
सेम
that's
विद
जी.
relationships as well, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Okay.
That's true. So, now I want to really delve into your books and understand, the kind of themes that you bring to the audience. Now, this beyond three words, it places us inside an asylum, right? But the
Yes.
real question seems to be who's truly mad, right?
Hmm.
So, what drew you to that setting and, that kind of philosophical, tension, if I may say?
Uh, I think my obsession, not obsession, but my, you know, curiosity with this concept of sanity and insanity. I think we've already spoken about that. It's
Yes.
it's an interesting topic,
Mhm.
and it's it's about let's say Sonakshi, you tomorrow feel, and
Mhm.
please take my words absolutely. You don't have to take them seriously at all, because words are dangerous things. I've
Yeah,
always
I agree.
believed. So I'm here. The person responsible for these words is sending out a
Mhm.
disclaimer that just go through them, but don't think about them much.
Okay.
But if tomorrow you face this. Uh, situation where you really think that, I'm this close, I'm this close. So
Mm-hmm.
that particular situation, when a person faces that, he becomes very, tunnel visioned in a very wrong way. It's almost like a grave that you're digging for yourself.
Okay.
And beyond three words, this whole concept that, who is really free, and it's never like who is truly mad. It's
Mm-hmm.
about who is truly free. So let's say I take all the pressure away from your shoulders of behaving properly in a society.
Okay.
Some part of your brain will think that, oh, such a relief, you know
Actually, that's true. That's true.
right? But
Yeah.
that also means insanity. So you have to decide that, what is insanity, and is insanity really insanity?
G.
सो
G.
सो अगर मैं आपको बोलता हूँ कि हाँ, आपके ऊपर से सारा प्रेशर हट गया,
G.
of behavior, of dressing, of
Hmm.
whatever, all
Hmm.
the constructs, right? So, and you're free to do anything without consequences.
Wow.
And there are people everywhere. I think कहीं ना कहीं होते हैं. मेरे neighborhood में भी there is someone who roams around the street and screams, and everyone knows. The society
Wow.
treats that person as, we know the condition.
His normal
So
self.
yeah, she comes and screams at, yet at
Mm-hmm.
shopkeepers and everyone. She'd
Mm-hmm.
be, I mean, if someone new would feel that that's, she's creating a scene, but the rest of us, we know the condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she does that. She apparently, so I've heard that she goes back to a house. It belongs to a good house, good people, well-off people. I don't know, but at least there's a shelter and then there's food, right? So goes home, eats her stuff, and the moment sun is down, she steps out, starts yelling at people, creates a scene. Everyone is normal.
Mm-hmm.
So who's free, you or her?
Yeah,
so,
that's interesting. That's interesting. That's an
so
interesting
that,
way of looking at these things. Um,
yeah,
so if I may say, you're sort of kind of insinuating that there are definitions to your own, I mean, or there are versions to insanity, or there are versions or definition. I mean, how you're defining freedom is totally up to you. Can I say that? Like, right? And that's where we kind of are, left in a dilemma, or in a midway state where, you cannot really, like, you're not really sure, like, who's the right one or who's the freer one. Can we say that?
right. So I think the answer is beyond these assumptions. It has got
Hmm.
nothing to do with what you personally feel or what is free.
Hmm.
It lies in a very, it's very primal. The answer is very primal. Why? Because you have to understand society for that. Society is a man-made concept. So
Hmm.
and this is, it's shocking and it's surprising why and how people forget this thing, that society is an agreement between people. It
G.
is
G.
एक तरीके से, अगर वो agreement हटा दो आप, so it's all jungle, not even tribes, it's jungle. It's the same.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
You remove that agreement, people don't think about it because they
Yeah.
were people like you and me.
G.
We were born in safety. We were
Yes.
born with abundance. We were born in, a place where we could express ourselves.
Hmm.
Forget about that. Go three generations piche aap. Just imagine that our fathers had it so difficult. If our
Yeah.
fathers had it so difficult, imagine three or four generations piche.
Hmm.
It was tribal. Imagine 5, 6 generations piche, or maybe 10 generations piche. It was all, wild, wild west
Right.
or whatever. You come, you take whatever you can, be
Hmm.
it, you lay siege on other people's
Hmm.
areas,
Hmm.
dwellings. You take everything that you want. Women and
Hmm.
children are the first casualties.
Hmm.
People forget about all of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
society is an agreement. It doesn't matter where you are, every area, every set of traditions or languages, they have created a society and they have created a set of rules
Hmm.
that you have to respect. Sure, society evolves by time. It
Right.
takes generations, maybe 50 years, 100 years, or we want to change the society because this doesn't feel right, this feels primitive. Sure, do that. But it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't happen overnight. And by the time you want all the benefits from the society. You want your business, right?
Hmm.
Society gives you business
Ji.
because of that agreement that your ancestors, had with each other.
Hmm.
And it gives you opportunities to start a family, to educate yourself. This is all because you agreed to something. Your
Hmm.
bloodline agreed to something. Now, that society comes with rules. And if you break those rules, not directly, but indirectly, society will punish you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will be either banished or ostracized, or
Ostracize.
your
Yeah.
yeah, or
Yeah.
your character will be ruthlessly, crushed
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
maligned, and you will face all of these. You can say that it's unfair and it's modern world. Yeah, it is. It
Hmm.
is. I'm not
Hmm.
denying that.
Hmm.
But the main unit of family is not individual. The main unit of society is not individual, but I would say it's family. And most of the
Hmm.
things are based around family.
Hmm.
So, which I want my kids to grow up.
Hmm.
That is something that a mother and father usually think about. Like,
Yeah.
that do I want my 7-year-old to watch naked girls on his cell phone? It's
Mm-hmm.
a common, because it's rampant, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
You can, if he has a phone in his hand, you can only put
Stop him.
restrictions to a
Yeah.
limit. Yeah, you
Yeah. You
can't just
can't. You
take
can't
away.
stop him as much. Yeah.
The technology is disruptive in a very dangerous way. It sure
Yeah.
is convenient, but
Mm.
it with a lot of fabrics of society. So you have to understand that, you have to respect that to an extent. Sure, changes should be made, but when you talk about that
Hmm.
society, that brings the definitions of,
Yeah.
that puts restrictions on the promiscuity of a woman, right? It's
Hmm.
looked down upon like anything.
Hmm.
But there are places in this world where you can be free. You can
Yeah.
experiment sexually, or you can be whatever you want to be. But there
Yeah.
are places you cannot, and you have to respect
There's a
it.
restriction. Yeah.
So अगर कोई सोसाइटी आपको बोलती है कि हाँ ये बंदा पागल है, ऐसी हरकतें पागल है, what are you going to do about it?
Correct. You can't. You can't. You can't help it really.
Right. So, yes, I will come back to, it's the society and the rules. They decide, and you can just think about it, talk about it, write
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. No, I love it. Honestly, you're making me think so much. And I feel like if I, as a listener, based on what you're saying, I am thinking so much. Like it's really, my brain is on a roller coaster right now, which I think it's so interesting. How interesting would that be as a reader too, right? I think that is where I can sense the kind of writing you're bringing to the audience, to the readers too, right? Um, you have two characters, right? Daniel Hart and Minerva. And you're talking
Right.
about how the relationship kind of between them is, it's blurring power, it's blurring love and freedom. It's like um, a relationship which does not have a definite name, if I may say. So,
Mhm.
what were you most curious about when you were writing this, their relationship or their psychological journey?
Uh, I start with the names because I have faced this from readers and early stages from friends that, or people who I knew at that point of time, because
Hmm.
we are from India, and
Yeah.
come I come from Jammu, and when you
Yeah.
meet people, get to know that your main characters are called Daniel Hart. So
Hmm.
the first immediate response is that, oh, you've written a westernized book.
Ha,
Even
ha,
the
correct.
even the setup is westernized, and I was like, I listen to them. I never say that's not wrong, but
Hmm.
that's not the source of it.
Hmm.
So while writing, the main character, I had to be very specific because I was also naive at that point of time. I just
Hmm.
entered this field of writing,
Yeah.
and I consulted all my friends. I'm talking about the girls who I knew and
Hmm.
during my college years and
Hmm.
school years. I
Hmm.
consulted them that give me one name that you like the most,
Ha.
the name you have a crush on.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
from all the names, they were Indian names, they were Arab names, but the
Hmm.
name that topped the list was Daniel. So I didn't
Is
think
it?
much about it. I was like, this is going to be Daniel. And at that point of time, my favorite footballer was a goalkeeper called Hart. And
Okay.
I was, so I was like, I was doing my stupid maths at that point of
Yeah.
time. So I
Yeah.
did that. I was like, this guy will be called Daniel Hart.
Ha.
Never thought about it again.
Hmm.
And Minerva is my classmate. I mean,
Mhm.
she when she entered, this tall girl, married right now, but
Mhm.
this girl when she entered, we were fifth, sixth standard में छोटे छोटे, and she was
जी,
this tall, beautiful girl who entered our class, right?
जी.
So then we ended up becoming good friends. Like
हुँ,
all, it was a group of five, six, seven, eight people, and she was one
हुँ,
of the people, one
हुँ,
of the group members, my friend
हुँ,
circle, right?
हुँ, हुँ,
And when I was writing, I was 21.
हुँ.
When I wrote Beyond Three, was I 21 or 22? And
Wow!
I had never met Minerva for the past 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I guess.
हुँ,
So I once contacted her on Facebook, and I
हुँ,
asked
हुँ,
Minerva, I am writing this novel, and I really want to name the main character Minerva. Do you mind if I take your name?
हुँ, 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 हुँ.
She was like, go for it, go for it.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I didn't tell her that she was going to be a little,
हाँ,
uh,
insane there.
yeah,
Yeah,
criminally insane.
yeah. Yeah.
But she said yes. So, still, thank you, Minerva, if you're listening. And yeah, that's how the names came into the part. And the story is Daniel Hart is a therapist and Minerva is schizophrenic.
Hmm,
And again, my personal quest with this sanity and insanity was
hmm,
in a way subconsciously reflected, because Daniel Hart was the conscious part, the supposedly conscious part,
hmm.
sorry, sane part, and
Same part,
Minerva
yeah.
was the insanity, the other side.
Correct.
And I wanted them to meet, and then them to interact. So the therapist was doing his job,
Yeah.
but it just got really interesting as the story progressed, and how the lines dissolved, and how Daniel Hart started consulting an insane girl for
Yeah.
himself. Like he started using her as a
Wow.
therapist, and she
Wow.
started, in a way, behaving like that.
Wow.
So the story got really interesting for me when I was writing. So it
Yeah.
was, so it just, then it just took pages and pages, and it was easy. Then it was easy. It was interesting and easy for me to put it out there.
Honestly, I want to take a minute, a breather, and, really think that to have thought to this level, you must have really, I don't know, you must have put yourself in like a chain of thoughts to have, even thought to put an insane and a sane person together and then create something which lies midway, right? Like you said, their relationship was blurred and, it was it wasn't like you couldn't call it love, you couldn't call it less affection, like somewhere in between, right? So to have thought to this level, you must have challenged yourself to the highest levels of creativity, right? I mean, honestly, as much as I want to know and understand your book, I'm so much interested in knowing you also as a person, because to bring such interesting concepts, or I mean, if not concept, but such interesting stories, you really have to like grill yourself beyond a certain limit. Can I say that? Like, because that's what I sense.
You can, but that might not be the truth. The
Wow. Please, I
you,
I mean, what could the truth be then other than this? Because it's not easy to have thought something like this, right? It's not easy. Unless, AI is making up everything for you. I don't think that's possible because this feels so organic. I mean, I don't think this feels even like something which is AI generated, right? So,
the Beyonce words was anyway 17
yeah, it
years
was
ago.
way
So,
back. It was way
so
back, right? So,
AI तो तब नहीं था, but uh, and AI I
and this
use
happens to be one of the most popular books that, I
it
know,
was
मैं
my
जानती
first
हूँ.
first book. That
और
Beyonce
ये
words is my
सबसे
first book.
हाँ, I know, yeah.
So I would say Saath is the most well-known book that I've written
सात
among
तो that's a
my.
concept altogether. A kabutar is solving Kashmir issue. Oh God, I was like, hey Bhagwan, like where is this person coming from? I mean, wouldn't that be so interesting? Agar I mean, I'm sorry, like I'm stepping onto Saad, but I want you to finish up that thing first because Saad is going to be like it's going to be the fun and the most interesting section. Of course, the latest the songs of Barber like is the latest pride of the show, but
Yes.
then South is another interesting aspect to discuss.
So when you ask that question about how do it must have taken me a lot of time to think, or so much thought has gone into it. I think I mentioned these terms. I've used these terms while talking to you. Layer two thinking or layer one thinking. I just came up with
Huh.
these things because I made these terms up because my thinking usually is on layer one.
Hmm.
So आप सुन रहे हैं और आप सोच रहे हैं कि यार इसने कितना सोचा होगा ऐसा
Huh.
दैट आई
Huh.
कॉल दैट लेयर टू थिंकिंग
Hmm.
लेयर
Hmm.
थिंग्स आई बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट
Huh.
इट्स कि मैं उठता हूँ मुझे कॉफी
जी.
पीनी है और अब मुझे
Huh.
लिखना है
Huh.
दैट्स इट दैट्स इट
That's
No, so
amazing. That's
it's
it's very interesting, Abhimanyu, the way like you are, the minute you like that's why I say कि जब आप matlab to have imagined something like this must have really like you must have really pressurized your brain to create something so beautiful. But you say it so simply. You're like, nahi, I would just wake up and I would just start writing and it just came out so beautifully. So I'm kind of intrigued and I'm curious and I'm kind of in denial also कि ये कैसे practically possible है. So I really like I know this is kind of going beyond the इफ आई मे से कि शायद हम आपकी इस बुक को बहुत ज्यादा डिस्कस कर रहे हैं बट आई एम सो क्यूरियस टू नो लाइक हाउ दिस प्रोसेस has been so easy for you.
Uh, first thing, I my focus is on the word. You when you said that, I just wake up, I sit, and I write this so beautifully. I will take that word out beautifully.
Yeah.
Reason because again, this concept of layer one thinking or layer two
Hmm.
thinking.
Hmm.
I will write beautifully is again layer two thinking for me. Layer one thinking is just get up, have your coffee, and sit on the table and write. It's
जी.
as simple as basic as that. So once you start doing that, I remember, Sonakshi, there was this writers' retreat where I was called to mentor for 3 days. And this happened in Pune. I was in
जी.
Jammu at that point of time, and I was called to Pune to, conduct the 3 day workshop for people who are interested in writing. And most of the people, the participants, were above 50,
Hmm.
which was very,
Hmm.
cool, like,
Yeah.
elderly and even, aged people and 50 plus, whatever you
Hmm.
want to call them.
Hmm.
So, those people, all of them. So I had prepared 3 day workshop कि इनको ये सिखाऊंगा ये बताऊंगा ऐसे मैं ऐसे लिखता हूँ सिखाऊंगा नहीं I'm not a teacher I'm not a writing
जी.
teacher but I told them that the plan was to tell them मैं ऐसे करता हूँ then मैं ऐसे करता हूँ then मैं ऐसे करता हूँ उसके
जी.
बीच में एक spontaneous thought आया that I just presented to them and that is linked to what I'm going to share regarding beyond three words
Hmm.
or some
Hmm.
ऐसी thoughts कैसे आती हैं so immediately I just got up on the marker board I did write something that was not planned so I wrote four things and उनमें से एक था no romance
Hmm.
and then there was one thing it was uh, I have forgotten because it was so spontaneous it
जी.
was I mean it meant that I'm not doing it for people's praise
Okay.
so
Wow.
yes, it was the point was laurels in heaven, and it was a
Okay.
spontaneous thought. So it said number three was laurels in heaven, and they were also very curious about what do you mean by no romance? We
Hmm.
can't have a romantic partner. I was like, no, please have
Yeah.
multiple romantic partners if you
Yeah.
can and if you can afford to.
Okay.
but
Okay.
but that's not the point. The
जी.
point
जी.
is that you cannot romanticize your own life as a writer. You cannot. I mean, that's
Wow.
something that I see that a lot of people, वो झोला डाल लिया, वो look
मैं
कर
वही
लिए,
बोल रही हूँ या
आपने वो कर लिया और आप
हाँ
राइटर बन गए सो आपके पास मेरे पास टाइम नहीं था कभी भी ये सब करने का कि मैं अपनी लाइफ यहाँ मैं इसको ऐसे कर लूँ कि मैं तो किसी अच्छी जगह सीनरी में जाके लिखता हूँ मजा आ
जी
जाता है व्यू होना
जी
चाहिए तो रेड वाइन साथ में हो रहा है ऐसा नहीं होता मेरा
जी
इट्स अ शेडी कॉर्नर वॉल दिखती है
Yeah.
मेरे को एंड वॉल इज वेरी गुड वॉल इज वेरी फ्रेंडली तो मैं वहां पे बैठ के लिखता हूँ सो नंबर वन
जी
वाज romance and number two was laurels in heaven that just meant that I am doing it for if I am doing it for praise, I'm doing it for praise from the angels, and that I only everyone meets angels only when
Sweet.
when they leave,
Hmm.
when they
Hmm.
are dead.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So I cannot write because beautifully because Sonakshi will like it or someone else.
हाँ
Of course, it is for readers. You want them to read, but you can't care about what they want to read. So
तो
it's
आप
just
वैलिडेशन सीख नहीं करते
ये भी ये सोचना भी कि क्या मैं वैलिडेशन इज अगेन लेयर टू नाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से
या
these
वाओ
things don't cross the mind. They think that क्या validation, they
नहीं, बट
never
आई फील
occurred to
सो
me.
लो ऑलरेडी बिकॉज मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि हम राइट, आई मीन थिंक अबाउट इट, राइट? शायद आप आप बहुत, अभिमन्यु, दिस इज वेयर आई एम टेलिंग यू, most of the people you'll come across are going to be layer two thinkers, जैसा आप categorize कर रहे हो, right? और उनकी नजर में आप अपने आप को बहुत लाइक अंडर क्रेडिट कर रहे हो, बिकॉज लेयर वन शायद बहुत कम लोगों का माइंडसेट है, एंड विच इज
नहीं,
amazing, and that is what reflects in your writing, because like every time you're going to like अपने आप को एकदम नॉर्मल दिखाओगे ना, तो every time I'm going to just stop you and say कि नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, because most of the people are my kind of thinkers, right? और शायद उनको वैलिडेशन चाहिए, यू आर डेफिनेटली लुकिंग एट अ डेस्टिनेशन दैट यू वांट टू सीक, शायद आप भी वो सीख कर रहे हो, बट आप उसको लेके इतने क्रेजी नहीं हो, लाइक यू नॉट गोइंग सो क्रेजी अबाउट दैट होल कि अरे मेरी बुक्स बिकेंगी या नहीं, अरे मेरी बुक्स जाएंगी नहीं, एंड दैट इज वाई, क्योंकि आपकी एनर्जी उन सब चीजों पे यू नॉट स्पेंडिंग, लाइक यू आर हार्डली स्पेंडिंग मिनिस्क्यूल्स ऑफ एनर्जी ऑन दैट portion, which is why it is reflecting so much in your writing. Believe it or not, this is coming from a layer two thinker. So,
there's this
yeah.
famous director, uh, David Lynch, if I'm not wrong. I
Okay.
think that legendary director makes artistic, crazy movies, right? थोड़ा
Ji.
सा वो भी
Okay.
he also falls into the surrealism or absurdism वाला part में थोड़ा सा.
Ji.
I don't consider myself as a surrealism writer, but he is one of those surrealists जो direct movies बनाता है. Twin Peaks is a very famous series by him. A lot of movies, Mulholland Drive. So
Mhm.
he off camera, off record, like not in his one of his candid recordings, he I remember him saying कि there's this donut theory. I'm paraphrasing, like I
Mhm.
might not be.
Mhm.
So he said there's this donut, the sugary,
Mhm.
juicy part, the
Ji.
soft, fleshy part, and then there's
Hmm.
this hole.
Okay.
So all the things that happen after you produce your work is the
Hmm.
whole. So you do not think about the whole, you just think about the donut.
That's
And that
amazing.
kind of resonated, not because I got inspired by it, I just related to it. I was like, oh yeah, if I have to put words to it, that will be somewhere, I
Yeah.
can ballpark it उस इस line से कि हाँ ऐसा ही है कुछ कि my job is to write, put it out there, do the dirty gig of marketing and smiling and do all of that thing that you have to do, right? You have
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Do
Ji.
that because it's important, it's necessary, and then you just write the other book, you write the next book, and then you write the next book, you keep on doing that.
I love it. I love it. I think that's the best way of looking at it, provided you get this kind of a thought process, which is not easy to achieve. So I will have to credit you there for it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to Sat. I'm really, really, fascinated by this concept which you've been giving. You've been, let me just, I have a little description which I specifically gotten because I wanted to, like you have a pigeon which is solving the Kashmir issue, and then like I definitely know I got in the whole theme of it. Just give me a second. I really need to bring that out for you because I know yesterday I was kind of going through this thing and this was amazing. Like really, it's just not something which I could easily. So you have a 100 fathoms above, then you have 1 second. Sat. Okay. So a story where a pigeon is trying to woo a hen with a promise to solve the Kashmir dispute. Then you've got a chilling look at the future Delhi where a woman is transformed into a killing machine driven by the hallucinations of a digital age. So such interesting concepts. Where did those come from? What connects these stories for you at a deeper level? Like I really need to know this. This has got me the most curious.
One word, revenge. So
Did
that
you
is
say
the,
revenge?
yes, I did. And
Wow. Okay.
it, it's personal because
Hmm.
these stories have got nothing to do with it.
Hmm.
Revenge, in a way, there was this, after writing Beyond Three Words, I was very, hungry
Hmm.
professionally that, I want to eat people's heart out, that,
Hmm.
look
Yeah.
at me, I've written this book. You know,
Hmm.
you are aggressive at that point of time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
24 and 25 maybe, and I'm like, I'm a writer. I'm a goddamn writer. You better read my work. So I was in that zone at that point of time.
Hmm.
So I was doing anything possible to market myself, and then there came this competition, writing competition,
Hmm.
on a very famous Indian newspaper, daily newspaper. And it said that, if your short story gets selected, it will be compiled together with one of the greats of Indian literature. And
Hmm.
the latest the modern Indian writers, I'm sure you know the names. I'm not going to name those people
Hmm.
because a lot of heat comes with those names. Some people
Yeah.
don't like them. Some people just want to bash them. They did
Yeah.
their job. Whether they're good or not, that's different. But they kind
That's,
of made
yeah.
their name. So I
Of
don't want to.
course.
Earlier, even I was of this mindset that I want to climb this ladder by you know this mudslinging and by
Sure. Sure.
saying bad things about these people. I
Hmm.
not anymore.
Hmm.
And so they were the judges,
Hmm.
and they would
Okay.
decide
Wow.
that who would be selected. And I'm sure a lot of people gave, but I was being I was very ambitious at that point of time, and I was like, मेरी story तो जानी चाहिए, वही कि मेरी life special है, वही वाला concept है.
बिल्कुल. बिल्कुल.
So I sent one, didn't get selected, sent twice, another one, next one. जब दो तीन हुई और वो rejection back to back जब select नहीं हो रहा था, फिर से जब next वाला आया, I was like, to hell with this. I
Hmm.
am going to collect my own short stories and I am going to publish it. I don't care how, because
Hmm.
you can't just, and I'm going to traditionally publish it. That is a challenge in itself because you can always self-publish. You can always, do the editing job and put it out there on various
Okay.
platforms. Or you
Hmm.
can pay certain self-publishing houses and they will take whatever amount and they will put your book out there.
Hmm.
Traditional publishers is has been the way since centuries. So
Okay.
they take it, they vet it, they edit it, they will do whatever they want to do with it. You'll
Hmm.
have to fight with them, you will have to make peace somewhere, and
Hmm.
the whole process, because they are the institutions which now have gotten diluted because of a lot of things.
Hmm.
But those institutions, sure, institutions have their monopoly, or they have their rules, but
जी.
they at least promise to bring only decent work or good work. They will not put out substandard work. So
Hmm.
you are not exposed to every goddamn thing on the planet, right?
Hmm.
Be it mediocre work. So I
Hmm.
was like, yes, it's going to be a challenge, but I didn't know how. I had no network in the literature world in
Hmm.
India.
Hmm.
But I said it to myself that I used very unparliamentary language at that point of time. I
Okay.
will not use it, but I
Hmm.
abused them all out of just pure arrogance and frustration.
जी.
I abused them
Hmm.
all, and I was like, I'm going to write my own short story collection.
Hmm.
And at that point of time, I roughly had 7 short stories with these
Hmm. And
concepts.
this
Where
was
did they
what
come?
age? This was what age?
I think 25.
The
This
reason I
was
asked this
four
is because I wanted to know, like, how did you get grounded eventually? Also, this would be my, you know, forthcoming questions. Yeah, please go ahead.
So these things I had. So the title Saath was just because I had 7 short stories ready with me, like on
Wow,
and off. Rough. अब
lovely.
उस बुक का नाम 12 भी हो सकता था, 13 भी हो
जी,
सकता था.
जी,
So
जी.
but उस बुक का नाम सात था because I
Hmm.
had शुरू से end तक 7 stories, and I was crazy, ballsy, or I don't know. Again, you would call it creative enough, maybe, to
जी.
call it Saath, because there are Saath short stories. I had no other reason. There was no other, divine thought behind it. I was like, Saath short stories. And what am I going to call them? I'm going to call them Saath.
Start. That's
And it
lovely.
was more of rage and I never let those, that hardcore rage affect my stories. I was very sure on that my
Yeah,
stories will not get affected by it, not get
yeah,
affected by it. But
huh,
the process of naming it, I didn't care. I was like, Saad. And
yeah.
then there's this good friend of mine who designed my first and second book,
Hmm.
Malika.
Hmm.
Uh, so Malika, I told Malika that this is the concept.
Hmm.
And so if you see the cover, you'll see those lines
Yeah,
that
yeah, I do. I
symbolize
do.
seven.
Hmm.
And a lot of people miss this information. The 7 stories, there is nothing common between those 7 stories. There is
Hmm.
not a single thread but the reader that connects. Like you will, if you are reading, you are the only connection between those seven short stories. But there is just one tiny detail that is present in every single short story, that is rose. There is some or the other form of rose in every short
Oh,
story. In
lovely.
the final short story, Hallucination, the main character is called Gulab.
Mm-hmm.
In the first, Walls Without Ears, it's kind of an open mic poetry kind where people get drunk, and people who
Mm-hmm.
have never ever indulged in poetry, know nothing about poetry, just get drunk and start spewing words. Like they start saying open slam जैसा होता
Mm-hmm.
है कि कुछ भी बोल
Hmm.
दो, and their demons come out, like their worst fears, their worst insecurities, that comes
Yeah.
out.
Hmm.
But वहां पे they are drinking rosé wine. So there is
Hmm.
this, somewhere or the
Interesting.
other, the
Interesting.
pigeon's eyes are usually red. So compared
Hmm.
to a rose,
Mm-hmm.
in a Ladakh setting, the girl's mittens are red as rose.
Okay.
So when you see the book cover, I'll show you the book cover. It's right there.
Yeah.
So if you see the book
Yes.
cover,
Wow. I wanted you
these
to
are
flash the book
thorns.
for us. Yeah.
These are ये आपको these the green and red is just stem and rose का concept, and you
Oh,
will see
lovely.
कांटे भी दिखेंगे, and
Hmm.
then so this is how this
It's
whole thing
beautiful.
got together.
It's beautiful.
And there was no further thought. Seven stories, seven. How did the concept of this Delhi 2040 come in? Again, I was sitting on my table. That's the only explanation for a lot of things that I do. I know, when people ask you this question, it's better to give them an answer. But what to do, Sonakshi?
Yeah.
I do not have an answer for this. I sit on the table and things happen.
Maybe you're
And
gifted. That's how I can perceive it at least because it's not normal. Trust me, it is not. Even though you're a level 1 thinker, I'm telling you, and I'm a level 2, I understand, but I still am telling you this is not
layer,
normal.
layer. Let me correct you.
Le.
Layer,
I'm sorry,
yes.
le too. Okay, no, acha, listen. One thing which I'd love to know, like for the readers out here, now this
Yes.
question is specifically for the readers. If, readers, Jesse, they're going to finish Saath and they feel like, unsettled and confused like I am because of the titles itself, um, is that the reaction you're hoping for, like after reading Saath, or is there something else that you expect them to carry out of the book?
Oh, I think since I put out things that only move me,
Mm-hmm.
rest all is shredded or is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so things that have moved me will be the things that have somewhere down the line, either in childhood or recent memory or far memory, have either disturbed me or done something crazy in my life. Whether I've seen that in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your mind is always impressionable. Depends कि आपकी
Yeah.
threshold कितनी है और किस चीज पे impressionable हो गए. But it will always be impressionable to something or the other till the
Yeah.
time you are really dead.
Mm-hmm.
So. There are a lot of things that kids go through, and then there are a lot of things that adolescents go through,
Mm-hmm.
and then elderly people or our age or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that really really affected me or moved me, those are the real things that I really want people to take out, no, from the story, to take away from the story. And that those are the real things that people actually happily ever after is boring, you know
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
हो गया, हाँ नहीं होता अब happy. So it
True.
is
Agreed.
life. People want to talk, beautiful things about life. Life is very, if you think about it, it's quite mundane. It's very boring. So, and you can't change it. You just have to
Yeah.
accept it and you have to submit to it. And people
Yeah.
try to make it beautiful, but
Yeah.
कितना ही ट्राई कर सकते हो 24 घंटे में दिन में
Correct.
आप वो थक
Correct.
जाते हो एक बार ट्राई करके बस हो जाती है
बिल्कुल. बिल्कुल.
लोगों को दिखा
Very
दिखा
true.
के आपकी बस हो जाती है तो आप फिर नहीं कर पाओगे तो लाइफ आपको कभी ना कभी ऐसे देती है टर्न्स कि आपको लगता है कि ये उसके साथ इवन एज अ व्यूअर और अ स्पेक्टेटर यू बिकम कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है दिस इज पॉसिबल सो व्हेन पीपल फिनिश साथ if they find for example I told you about this open mic poetry
Mm-hmm.
slam
Mm-hmm.
wala story the first short story is called Walls Without Ears
Yeah.
and Walls Without Ears में there's this one of the participants उसका नाम है Miss Chicken Curry because
Wow.
because
Okay.
Miss Chicken
Hmm.
Curry talks about her dysfunctional family.
Okay.
And fortunately, I was, luckily, I am not the one who comes from such background.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there are a lot of people who do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
and
agree.
people read that. People have read it. I will say it out loud again.
Yeah, of
And
course. Of course. I see.
I've received DMs, and I
Yeah.
have received messages and emails
Yeah.
where readers have told me that, it was kind of a therapy, or, there was this cathartic release with when I read it. And I didn't I didn't know whether that was a good thing, or have I
No,
triggered them,
I think
or
it is. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing.
it's it's kind of overwhelming for me as the writer who has done it, because my intentions are very cruel when I'm writing, because my intentions are कि ये पढ़ने वाले की तो मैं बैंड बजा दूंगा, तो वो पढ़े तो सही एक बार, उसके होश ठिकाने आ जाएंगे. But in
Nice,
in a
nice. I
way,
like that attitude. Yeah. Hmm.
just to make you feel alive in this, never ending boredom. That's all I, sometimes crave to do. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, ठीक है, कुछ ऐसा ही करना चाहिए.
I think that's fair. That's fair. शायद इसीलिए लोग बुक्स रीड करते हैं ना, इसीलिए लोग मूवीज देखते हैं, because they want to just
Yes.
drift away from the regular and get into something which is a different pattern altogether, right? So,
Yes, because people can give you stimulation only to a level.
yeah,
वही repetition again and again. Then that's why art comes in, and
yeah,
gives you.
I
It's
agree.
all
A
about
hundred
perspective.
percent. 100%. Um, तो अब है आपकी जो latest release, which is Songs of a Barber's Tuesday,
Oh
right?
yeah.
It kind of feels very different because you've introduced songs here, and it asks the reader not just to read but to kind of perform. Now, how
Yes.
did this idea, like अभी ये जो rhythmic sung fiction जिसको आप बोलते हो, how did that come for you? Like, what's going on there?
It started with this uh, my liking towards hip hop music. That's not the reason why I started Barbers Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
but I was always a rap and hip hop fan. I used
Oh
to listen
wow,
to the
nice.
greats, and I used to. I was one of those kids who is either listening to heavy metal or rock, or it's hip hop,
Okay.
and hip hop took the major space in
Mm-hmm.
my playlists. And I used to joke around with my friends that, I'm gonna write. This is early ages. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna write a rap song once, and I used to joke around, And I've
Yeah.
always said that, thank God I didn't, because I
Mm-hmm.
knew I was going to be terrible at it, and अपना बेवकूफ बनने वाली बात. But
Hmm.
this play with words so that there's rhyme and rhythm in it, that seed वो कीड़ा नहीं गया कभी भी. I really wanted to, because now वो अब आ गया था कि, Sonakshi, I can surely stick to one particular, way of writing, uh, and keep writing novels on that. And not one of the, like, the greatest writers in the history of literature have done that. They've
Mm-hmm.
picked one theme and they've kept on writing thick novels. That is a dream. That is a dream. I
Hmm.
want to do that. I will
Hmm.
do that eventually. But
Hmm.
right now, life is not that sad, and it's
Yeah.
not that I'm
Yeah.
not
You want to
itna dukhi
try.
nahi
You
hu.
want to try different. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Try only those things that I connect with and I can do it. And,
Hmm.
it's the right time to take that risk.
Yeah.
And maybe after 50 or 55, 60, I don't know when, but I might settle down with one way of writing. I will.
Hmm.
I know eventually I will, because at that point of time, will. Life would have shown me, like, it will show me so many repetitions and patterns that, eventually everyone knows कि अच्छा यही तो होना है, अब क्या होना है,
But you
यहाँ पे
never
भी ये
know.
होना है.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. You never
Yeah,
know. Like
but
I think you're very unpredictable in a lot of ways. So you never know. Maybe in your 50s also you don't stick to like one pattern of writing.
no,
That's
no,
possible.
I want to,
Oh, you want to.
that's
Okay.
I want to write, I want to write books this thick. But the only thing is, my
Lovely.
writing process and my writing technique doesn't allow me to write this thick. It's
Okay.
I want to, but इतना भी लिखता हूँ जो मैं 5 साल 4 साल 3 साल में, अगर मैं इतना लिख दूंगा, वो इतना सा रह जाता है बाद में.
करेक्ट, करेक्ट,
So
क्योंकि आप
and I can't.
स्क्रूटनाइज करते हो उसको. राइट.
नहीं, वो स्क्रूटनाइज तो सारे करते हैं, but that might take another podcast episode. Let's not go there. But the thing is that it happens on its own.
ओके.
It happens on its own, and
हम्म.
I just can't help it.
हम्म.
And that's only because, I try to condense a lot of things in the unsaid or the unspoken.
ओके.
And so if I've written 3 lines, but there might be 10 lines between those 3 lines that your mind will go to.
हम्म.
And so, again, coming back to, would you remind me what I was talking about?
You were talking about this sung
Songs of a
fiction.
Baba
आप
Tuesday.
कैसे?
Yes.
जी, जी.
So I wanted to do. I really wanted it to be my next book to be a you know a rewarding experience for the reader.
जी.
It ha- of course, story is a rewarding experience in itself. When you read a story and when you
Hmm.
get to know, कि characters के साथ क्या हो रहा है, you get to know their intentions, you get to know कि
Hmm.
कौन कितना घटिया है, कौन कितना अच्छा है, कौन कितना
जी.
heroic है और कौन कितना fake है.
Hmm.
And then you finally, after the third act, you get the conclusion कि ऐसा होना चाहिए था, नहीं होना चाहिए था. It is a reward in itself, right?
Hmm.
It's all juice and nectar for you.
Hmm.
But I also wanted the you know the means, the medium to be rewarding as well. So when they
Hmm.
read it, I encourage people to read it out loud, because in songs of
Yeah,
a
that'll be
Barbers,
so interesting. That'll be so
because you are
interesting.
not just rhyming the last word. Like,
Hmm.
for example, there's a verse, and
Hmm.
so this songs of a Barbers Tuesday is in verses, like a
जी.
song. So एक
कुछ एक
verse
दो
है,
लाइन
then
सुना दीजिए. That'll be really nice. Do you think?
I
You
will,
think you can read
of
something out
course,
for your audience out here? Because I'm so excited to hear something like that.
I will. You will have to give me a second.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will.
please, please, please.
So this is, for example, this verse. So Billa Barber, the
जी.
narrator, the protagonist who sings these stories to you.
Hmm.
So since we are talking about songs of a Barber studio, let me introduce you to the concept. The concept is that there is this city called Vastu City.
हाँ.
In Vastu City, Tuesdays को कोई भी बाल नहीं
नहीं
कटाता,
कटवाता
क्योंकि
है.
it's cursed. It's
वो
cursed. The
जम्मू
blades
सिटी में
are
भी नहीं
cursed.
कटवाते हैं. वो जम्मू
You
सिटी में
see
भी
the
नहीं.
whole
Right.
idea.
It's
That
very
was the idea.
authentic. It's very authentic.
That
Yeah.
was the backbone of connecting these stories, because I couldn't
Yeah.
find the link. And one day, I
Yeah.
think I was talking to my parents, and we were talking about CUNY, and then I suddenly figured out that I'm going to connect these
Hmm.
rhythmic stories with the fact, because they go to a barber and tell the barber these
Hmm.
stories. Now
Hmm.
the concept is that this collection is only about those anomalies, or deviants, or those crazy off characters who
Hmm.
only dare to or are stupid enough to go to Billa Barber on a Tuesday.
On a
And Billa
Tuesday. Yeah.
Barber knows that on Tuesday सिर्फ ये सरफिरे लोग मेरे पास आते हैं. The
हाँ.
heartbroken, the cruel, the
हाँ.
violent, aggressive, or all the
Or the
crazy people.
rebels, maybe the rebels. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
not God-fearing citizens,
Hmm.
but only, these offbeats, these misfits will come to me.
Yeah.
And these stories, these songs are only about those people. And Billa Barber tells you, the reader. And
Hmm.
when you read them, I encourage people to read it out loud, because
Hmm.
you will unlock the rhythm that you can't unlock with your silent reading. Usually
Hmm.
people read silently, right? Everyone,
Hmm.
I read
बिल्कुल,
silently.
बिल्कुल,
But this
बिल्कुल.
is designed like that. So
Hmm.
when you're not just, so here's this situation where Billa Barber, my first, release of Songs of a Barber's Tuesday is called Full Girl. Every
Hmm.
song will be released separately. So the first is called Full Girl. That's the character's
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And Full Girl hasn't entered the barber shop yet. And
Hmm.
Billa Barber is just, dreaming.
Hmm.
And that's where this verse comes.
Hmm.
And then the outdoor clatter rattled my peace. Reality and dream battled, the latter shattered piece by piece. And I
Mhm.
saw a shadow where the door meets the streets. Are you the wizard with the scissors? Like nectar, her voice was sweet. The famed
Wow.
Billa Barber I hear, she asked through the blinding glare. Now,
Wow. Yeah,
if
this is very rhythmic. Yes, I do sense
yes,
that.
so you're not, so the way it's designed is not just, rattled my piece and then piece by piece. These are the last words.
Yeah.
Meets the sweets. You are not just rhyming now, you're also rhyming clatter, rattled, battled, shattered, latter.
तो आप
There are
पूरी
so
लाइन
many.
को राइम कर रहे हो, राइट? द एंटायर
Yes.
या
सो आप खाली वो लास्ट में ट्विंकल ट्विंकल लिटिल स्टार हाउ आई वंडर व्हाट यू आर नहीं कर रहे हो, आप
यस.
बीच में भी बहुत कुछ कर रहे हो. सो
हाँ.
व्हेन यू आउट लाउड, सो योर वॉइस ऑटोमेटिकली गेट्स इनटू दिस unique rhythm. You start
या.
connecting with the universe. So
यस,
that's
यस,
what
यस.
rhymes do to you, right? You are in alignment. Something feels really cool, that I have achieved something.
या.
There's a sense of achievement. So once you read it, you will realize that, hey, I just performed as if I'm standing in front of a
या.
crowd in a theater, right?
या.
And they're listening
या.
to these crazy, violent, or bizarre stories, and I'm
हम्म.
narrating that. So it feels like a performance, and that was the goal behind it. That these stories won't just be read, they'll be sung. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's it.
No,
That's it.
that's beautiful. I mean, I can't tell you how much like this is. Yes, such. Acha, one more thing, just out of curiosity, I've hardly seen any books like these. Of course, I'm less of a reader, but ऐसा कुछ और इस form को कुछ बोलते हैं क्या? Like, is there a name for this form of writing? It's just,
uh
it's so
so
what do I say,
here's the thing.
magnanimous. ये बहुत ही decorative way of writing है. Like, I really need to look up some words. Last time also I was looking for some
So
synonyms and now I forget.
fun fiction may ballads are the oldest things. You will there are so many Shakespearean plays where those are sung. But
Yeah.
one of the main books that really triggered me, and it is one of the earliest, is Canterbury Tales by an author called Geoffrey Chaucer. It's one of the
Okay.
most famous verses my stories. So it's not something new, but it happened that I was
But
trying to
it's
read
rare.
Canterbury.
It's rare.
Of course, it's not. So I kind of ended up creating a rare thing accidentally because I just wanted so many layers in the verses. And sure, there are rhythmic, but they will rhyme regularly.
Mhm.
This is almost like a rap song, but not a rap song because, of course, it's not rap. Because there are moments where sometimes you get lost in the rhythm
Hmm.
so deeply, and the rhythm is so punchy that you feel like you're rapping. But that only
Right.
happens once or twice, and then again you follow that slow and mellow, sweet rhythm of it. But sometimes it goes like a rap, so you might feel like doing, I don't know.
Yeah, yes. I mean, and it's a very interesting concept, a very rare. I mean, of course, you're saying it's there already, but I don't think there's a lot. There's a lot in this area.
I haven't come across a layered way of telling story, a layered rhythmic rhyming, something. That's why I ended up calling them songs.
Yeah. It feels like a song. It feels like a song. Okay. Finally, Apki, this book kind of suggests that silence is a neutral, right? The voice unlocks truth, right?
Mhm.
So what does it mean to you when a reader literally has to use their voice to, you know, access the story?
Uh, for me, it will be only, it's like, gratification in a way because I people will finally do what I have designed them to do. I'm
Yeah.
they're dancing on my tunes. For me,
Yeah.
that is that's a cool thing that okay people will do that. But you know why should they do that is a better question. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the backbone to Billa Barber's concept.
Mm-hmm.
The protagonist, not the protagonist, but the narrator's
Narrative.
this concept is the backbone to this whole concept is gossip. It's
Okay.
now what people call tea nowadays. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I've heard. They call it
Mm-hmm.
tea.
Mm-hmm.
So these people come to Billa Barber
Ji.
on a Tuesday, and these people are different people. They are different, and they share some secrets
Mm-hmm.
and they have this hope that it will remain a secret because Billa Babur has projected himself like that I will keep your secret, but he
Yeah.
tells it
Yeah.
to all of you, he sings
Yeah.
it to all of you, he sings
Mm-hmm.
it to you when you are
Yeah.
singing it. So what you are getting is pure gossip, and who doesn't love a good
Who
juicy
doesn't
gossip,
love
right?
good gossip?
Right.
But
And
ek, hmm.
why
No, no,
would you
no.
trust
Hmm. Please continue.
why
Please
would you
continue.
why would you trust Pilla Barber? That is a
Hmm.
question that you as a reader or the singer of these songs, why
Hmm.
would you trust Billa Barber? So I would just quickly read one verse that tells you a lot because Billa Barber doesn't talk about himself much. He
Hmm.
gives you little, sometimes
Got it.
somewhere he would give you some hint about his past,
Hmm.
and you would understand what kind of person he is and
Hmm.
why these people actually share stuff with him. So
Hmm.
this goes like he's talk now that girl that I mentioned, the
Hmm.
first protagonist of the first story, which is
Hmm.
full girl. That girl has
Ji.
entered, and Billa
Hmm.
is observing that girl,
Hmm.
and he says, "She was not your regular broad. Those
Hmm.
hips, oh my lord, a
Hmm.
bit large. But what a senorita! My heart could have defeated a hare, horse, or a cheetah. The
Hmm.
beast in my veins was eager to feast upon this incognita. But lust,
Huh.
my friend, is the enemy, so I remembered Bhagavad Gita." Now,
Okay.
when he says this, you
Huh.
get an idea that, okay, he's a disciplined man. He puts himself in check. But
Right.
immediately he says the next thing that he says
Huh.
is, "Good madams and sirs, let me remind Those days your barber has left behind. Crisp
Hmm.
white shirt, Oxfords, and a bow tie. A savage no more, a gentleman refined.
Hmm.
Now, when you read the whole Bhagavad Gita verse, you
Huh.
understand that okay, he's a disciplined man. I can kind of trust him. And
Hmm.
then he tells you about, he hints that okay,
Hmm.
he has not been a nice or a
Nice
good
guy
man.
forever.
Yeah,
Always. Yeah.
he
Hmm.
has, his eyes have seen things and his hands have done things that you
Hmm.
don't want to know,
Huh.
right?
Huh.
So then you even trust him, then you trust him even more because now
Hmm.
you know that he has seen the sides, right? He's
Huh.
someone
Huh.
who's not just a nice man who's, he's
Hmm.
done things and now he's a disciplined man. So Billa Barber becomes this trustworthy secret keeper
Hmm.
who just, shares gossip with us.
या या अच्छा एक चीज there's one more aspect to it अब अभी आप मुझे correct कीजिए if I'm going wrong the fact that he's singing songs and he's telling वो जो stories जो उसको लोगों ने बताई हैं those stories he's singing through them right so is that his encrypted way of giving away gossip also can I say that like that's what I'm sensing but like I could be wrong the fact that he's putting everything in a song and just kind of
So,
singing it out
so
loud.
Uh, his barber shop is in the heart of Vastu City. This
Hmm.
everything revolves around Vastu City and what happens in that city.
Hmm.
And his barber shop, his salon is in the heart of it. And the book opens with an introduction given by the scissors. The
Hmm.
scissors starts talking to you.
Hmm.
You, the
Hmm.
reader, when you
Hmm.
open the book and when you
Hmm.
start reading, the first moment of truth with the book is with the scissors.
Hmm.
The scissors actually introduces you to the concept that Vastu is a never ending carnival,
Hmm.
and he tells about all the people who come on regular business days, and
Hmm.
then on Tuesdays
Hmm.
such people come that only
Hmm.
Barber will tell you about. That
Hmm.
just aligns you with the concept of the book, that what are you about to get.
Hmm.
And then Billa Barber, just because these stories are so interesting, gossip is interesting because
Hmm.
someone has entrusted you with this
Hmm.
information that किसी को बताना नहीं.
Hmm.
और
हाँ.
उस टाइम पे आप बोलते हो कि मैं नहीं
Hmm.
बताऊंगा
नहीं
किसी को,
बताऊंगा.
बट हाउ विल यू कीप दैट इनसाइड? आपको
हाँ.
तो जाना है किसी के पास और
हाँ.
आपको
हाँ.
तो टी शेयर
हाँ.
करनी है उसके साथ.
हाँ.
So that's the whole concept, that Billa Barber is like, okay, I will not tell it to the world, but I will only tell it to you. मैं और किसी
Oh.
को नहीं बता रहा, तो तू
हाँ.
भी किसी को नहीं बताना.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
when
Hmm. Hmm.
Pearl Shower reads it, so Pearl
Yeah.
Shower is supposed to keep it to herself
Yeah.
because,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
trust
But
you.
that's not staying with me anymore because
That's how
everyone
it works,
gets.
right? That's how it
Right.
works.
Right. 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 No, that's quite interesting. ये बहुत बहुत ही amazing था. Um, I think the whole concept of gossip पहले तो वही बहुत intriguing होती है. I don't know, especially for women it is. I don't know for men though, but I think nowadays gossip is so organic. It's just an organic way of entertaining yourself, right? Um, it is, trust me. I know you might just be confused there, but it is. I'm sure of that.
I'm sure. No, no, I'm sure. I have received this feedback earlier.
Yeah,
पहले भी मुझे मिले हैं लोग जो बोलते हैं ऐसा कि,
right, right.
yes, I understand it.
And then this gossip is being topped up with a layer of songs, which I think makes it even more
Yes.
interesting. So I think that is where your book kind of, stands out absolutely differently from all others. Um, but एक चीज है, Abhimanyu, this is where like before I want to run to the fun section. आज की date में there are reels. The audience is more like driven towards quick consumption, right? What do you hope readers feel when they like slow down with their work? क्या लगता है आपको readers का क्या experience रहेगा? Because the world today is like so fast paced.
Hmm. First, I have made peace with it. I have not actually peace with it. I've understood that this is evolution. You can't change it, right?
Yeah,
You can complain about it, but कितनी
yeah,
देर करोगे?
right.
तो शॉर्ट अटेंशन स्पैन को आप रो नहीं सकते, उसको आप एज एन एवोल्यूशन अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हो,
Hmm.
और मे बी फेज की तरह अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हो कि ये एक फेज है जहाँ पे अभी सबको सब कुछ कंज्यूम करना है. इट्स द नॉलेज एज, राइट? एवरीवन
Yeah,
whether you're going to do anything with that knowledge or not, वो तो आपको पता ही है, हमने फिजिक्स और केमिस्ट्री बुक्स का कितना यूज किया है, वो भी नॉलेज थी एक टाइम पे हमारे 10th 12th में. सो अब इतनी सारी नॉलेज है आपको, सोसाइटी के बारे में, आपको साइकोलॉजी के बारे में, आपको फाइनेंस के बारे में, सबका सब नॉलेज चाहिए आपको एक ही दिन में,
करेक्ट,
सारा चाहिए, और
करेक्ट.
आप कितना यूज कर लोगे या आप अब्यूज कर रहे हो, जो भी है.
Hmm.
पॉइंट इज कि ये हो रहा
Hmm.
है. एंड I it's the modern age. It's the age of AI. It's the age of prompts. You write prompts and you get things done. So it's happening, and who are you to tell people कि नहीं करो ये, वो तो करेंगे ना. तो alcohol is never the problem. It's
Yeah,
the person consuming it.
yeah,
So
agreed, agreed.
I have no problem with reels. I try not to waste my time on it.
Yeah.
But for people who have short attention span, songs of a Barber's Tuesday is the perfect thing, because it's short, it's crisp, and it gives you that kick of, I have performed something. Or
Yeah.
that just makes me feel, kind of cool, because it does. Because when I
Yeah.
first kind of created and read it as a third person, which is difficult, but I try to do that. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt cool. I was like, it's short, and if they like it, that means I've gained their trust. They might go to Sat, which are short stories, a bit
Mm-hmm.
longer than book.
Yeah.
And if I manage to click in those short stories, they
Yeah.
might go for the long format, and might wait for my future thick books that I'm going to write. So I don't
Fair enough.
complain about reels. I have no issue with where the world is going.
Mm-hmm.
It has always been, going somewhere or the other. वो
Yeah.
तो
True.
internet ने इतना disruption कर दिया था, तो I don't think. And I think when it gets oversaturated with reels and content creation, and when people have spread their mostly mediocre stuff out there, which
Ji.
is average and not worthy of consuming, they
Mm-hmm.
will collective human consciousness always realizes that it's time to stop,
Mm.
and it's time to respect people who are actually bringing art.
True.
There's this
True.
renaissance period where everything becomes so monotonous and so boring कि लोग वो ये
Mm.
चीखना शुरू हो जाते हैं कि भाई गाने कहाँ हैं अच्छे, यहाँ अच्छी
Correct.
बुक्स कहाँ हैं, यहाँ अच्छी मूवीज कहाँ हैं, and they search for it, and then they finally find it.
Right.
So it's a cycle, it's a phase, and I have positioned myself as a writer. So eventually, when people will look for, something different,
Mm-hmm.
but true to literature and true, not, given substandard work or mediocre work, so they'll find me. So I'm not bothered about these quick consumption methods or anything.
No, no,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
it's true. But एक चीज ये भी है ना अभिमन्यु that slowing down is relaxing too. So I'm sure after getting into this fast-paced, technological जो भी उनको offerings मिल रही हैं, at some point of time, everyone wants to slow down, and that is where these kind of books kind of play a great role because they are not just slowing you down, but they're also relaxing you at the same time and entertaining you. राइट
And
तो वो एंटरटेनमेंट का जो कीड़ा है सब में कि हम एंटरटेन होते रहने चाहिए 24/7 वो मिल रहा है
yeah,
आपको बट एट द सेम टाइम यू नॉट गेटिंग टायर्ड ऑल्सो विच द शॉर्ट फॉर्म कैन डू इवेंचुअली फॉर यू
yeah, true.
या that was great. I think this was great information from you, Abhimanyu. I would love to now shift the gears a little and just get some quick answers from you. You don't have to overthink. You don't have to stress too much around it. Just tell me the first answer that comes in your mind. This is going to be a quick rapid fire to understand the writer's mind, if I may say, right?
I'm excited. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay. So a book that changed how you see everything, how you see writing.
It's not a book. It's more of sentences in books. So there
Okay.
are lines that I read. Sometimes in a 400 or a 500 page book, there is one line that just
Hmm.
gives you a perspective that, whoa, that can be done. That son of a
Yeah.
bitch. That,
Right.
all those
Right.
things. So there are
Yeah.
lines. It has always been lines, not one particular writer or a
Sure.
book.
Sure. I think songs may be ऐसा ही होता है, right? Some lines are like click worthy.
Yes, yes, it's not the book.
Okay. Novel or short stories? Which feels closer to you?
Novel, always.
Novels. Okay. Fair
Uh,
enough.
yeah.
Silence or music while writing?
Uh, so words are not required at all. but lyrics are always disturbing or distracting. But
Okay.
if it's just
The music.
sometimes
Yeah.
soothing, sometimes intense, so it does help, but mainly silence. Music
Hmm.
sometimes helps.
Oh, you
It
like
kind of
silence more.
it sometimes helps as the background score of your story, what you
Mm-hmm.
are writing at that point of time, but it always does not connect. So most of the times it's distraction. So
Hmm.
silence is better, but when it connects, when the music connects, for example, Sat was mainly written on top of Ludovico Einaudí's composition because it kind of became the background music of Sat.
Interesting. Interesting.
But I
Okay.
prefer silence. I prefer
You,
silence. So silence will be the answer.
yeah. Because, but yeah, again, difficult. Again, you layer one thinking, I'm telling you. Now that I'm getting into these terms, I would say
Right.
this is layer one because see, most of the people would prefer music and you're preferring silence. So that is why I say you're different here. Okay. All right. A character you wish you could meet out
That
of your
is a
books.
not out of my books. I'll tell you the characters that I really want to meet. So
Okay.
there are two actually, not one. One is Tyrion Lannister from Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. You know that dwarf guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
I yeah, he's the guy who you want to sit with and have beers with,
yeah.
and there is another character that I don't want to meet. I just want to
Huh.
see and observe him from a distance. That's
Huh.
Raskolnikov, the protagonist of Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. He's a
Okay.
very he's the man I would not sit with or talk with. Yeah,
Okay. That's interesting. अगर मुझे ये सवाल पूछा होता तो पता है मैं क्या बोलती?
I would
Even
love to know that.
even though I'm not a reader, I
Right.
think I'd love to meet Minerva and
Oh
I'd love to
wow.
meet Billa Barber. No, I'm
Right.
serious. I'm serious because मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्ट होगा ये बिल्ला बार्बर के सॉन्ग्स में कि ये कैसे मतलब लोगों की स्टोरीज लाइक जो भी
Be
सीक्रेट्स
very
हैं उनके
careful because you might give him another song, you know.
yeah, you never know, right? You never know. And that would be great. That would be great if I become one of his inspirations too. But and then this girl Minerva, right?
Hmm.
Uh, मतलब काफी इंटरेस्टिंग एस्पेक्ट है उसकी इंसेनिटी में भी कैसे वो इतनी हाउ शी सो इम्पैक्टफुल कि उसने एक सेम थेरेपिस्ट को ड्राइव कर लिया अपनी तरफ टू एक्चुअली बिकम हिज मेंटर एंड देन इवेंचुअली मे बी जस्ट form a relationship of what which is a blurred relationship yet to explore, yet to know from your book.
Hmm.
But that's quite interesting. So I'd love to meet these two characters for sure.
Nice.
um okay, a theme you keep returning to unconsciously
When you say theme, you mean in my writing?
in
What
your
theme do
writing, in your writing.
I think it'll be a blend of transgressive fiction, which is where the protagonist breaks the law or has a bad reputation or indulges in criminal activities or something
Mm-hmm.
against the society,
Mm-hmm.
with a blend of fantasy, like something not
Yeah,
on. You get the idea, right?
yeah, I
Pigeon
do, I click there,
प्रेजेंट कश्मीर
yes.
बता रहा है या टाइम ट्रैवल हो रहा है या कुछ ऐसा हो रहा है. So
Correct.
there's this story called 2 Minute Super Loser. So that
Mm-hmm.
guy is actually a loser, chain smoker,
Huh.
porn addict, but he
Huh.
gets the power
Superpower.
to go back in time, but only for
Huh.
2 minutes.
Huh.
So he can do that again and again, and he cannot revisit the same place again. But he can
Okay.
go back in time for 2 minutes, and wherever he wishes to go, he can go. So he has
Huh.
to choose between fulfilling his desires or correcting his sad life,
Hmm.
making amends, or
Hmm.
saving the world.
Hmm.
So he chooses between those
Yeah.
three.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how the
Yeah.
story goes. So
Nice. नहीं नहीं, of course I think yeah, and I think your theme, you're very right there. आपकी थीम में दिखता है कि आप वो फैंटेसी को छोड़ते नहीं हो शायद in your writing
I
anywhere, no
try
matter
to. I
what the
try to.
character is, right?
I try to stick to it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
comes
you do.
naturally.
Correct. Okay, one word that defines your writing style. I think this answer you've already given, but do you want to?
One word will be very difficult. So I'll have to resort to feverish. It's always on the edge. कुछ हो रहा है बस कुछ हो रहा है because there are a lot of fantastic novels written where कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. and they
Right.
are great stories, they are great
Yeah.
stories, but
Yeah.
it just reflects my chaotic mind कि मेरी
Chaotic
story में
mindset.
हमेशा
Yeah.
कुछ ना कुछ चल रहा है, ऐसा हो रहा है, चक्के घूम रहे हैं, तो I think feverish will be the right word.
Intertwined कुछ
But I
connections
mean,
हर जगह से.
one of the things, but it's more of chaos. Chaos
Chaos.
in
Yeah.
yes, chaos, but systematic chaos. It's you can make sense out of it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's chaos.
Okay. Okay. All right. So coffee or tea while writing?
That has to be one of my favorite questions.
Oh,
It
is
has to
it?
be. I cannot have chai alone. I need people with me when I want chai.
Oh,
So when I have,
lovely.
I think नहीं हो
Nice.
सकता. You want to talk good about chai and want to talk either bad or good about people. But
हाँ.
chai बिना उसके नहीं हो सकती. Coffee is my writing drink. Coffee has to
Okay.
be
So coffee you can have alone.
coffee. Yeah, I always most of the times it's like bottomless glass जहाँ पे
Yeah.
कॉफी खत्म नहीं होती, बस वो refill हो रहा है हो रहा है हो रहा है और चल रहा है till the time my brain gives up that I cannot write or sit anymore. Yeah,
Gee. Right, right, right. Okay, a genre you'd love to explore next.
I
That I'm very
think
curious to know. This is like my favorite question for you.
I think it'll be horror, not like exactly ghost horror.
But please don't
Mm,
miss out on the fantasy part because I love that theme coming in through in all of your stories.
Yes, it'll be horror in Abhimanyu style, but
Yeah,
horror
love
is
it.
something
Love it.
that
Yeah,
I would love to. I'd love to.
yeah. Okay, writing at night or early morning?
It has to be. That's a very layered question because there are three answers to it. When you write in the morning, like before sunset,
Hmm.
so उस time पे you are very, you're very introspective
Yeah,
and उस
meditative
time
and
yeah, that's a very meditative state. Early
hmm.
morning. I'm talking
Hmm.
4, 5. If I wake up,
Hmm.
otherwise I
जी,
don't. But
जी,
if
जी.
I wake up and I
Got it.
start writing, I'm very
Hmm.
meditative. But if it's daylight, so
Hmm.
daylight, I avoid writing. But if I have to, daylight is very logic driven. So your mind, your body is very receptive to logics at that point of time.
Wow,
So
that's
that
quite interesting.
kind of takes away that edge. But if you are in that, it's again like music. So if it connects to the story well, that logic mindset, then
Mm-hmm.
you have a good writing session. Otherwise mainly daylight wala itna acha productive nahi hota. Night
Hmm.
time you are very daring, like you the way you make your list raat ko ki main to kal se झंडे गाड़ने वाला हूं, it's something similar to that because you are very
Right.
daring at night, so that helps. So when without daylight I prefer both the times, early morning or after sunset.
Night. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. One sentence every writer needs to hear.
uh, Sit down, shut up and write.
Very nice. Very nice. Again, layer one answer. Layer one,
Yeah,
right?
just shut your mouth and write.
और कुछ ना कुछ आ जाएगा उसमें से. Again.
वो आपके ऊपर है. See, that's the thing. If you want to be a writer, don't be a writer.
Okay. That's interesting. If you just
I
want to write, be a writer.
I never had the luxury to tell myself that I want to be a writer. So if you think that you want to be a writer, you're not ready. I mean, these are not just my words. I felt it, but I heard it from one of the greats. His name is Charles Bukowski.
Mm-hmm.
He often says he's called the dirty old man of writing. He says
Mm-hmm.
that if if you want to be, or if you're doing it for fame, money, women,
Yeah.
whatever, etc., just don't do it. Because
Makes sense. Makes sense.
if
Because
it's
uh,
if it's meant to happen, it will
it
happen.
will.
It
It
will
will.
just happen.
It will happen. Yeah. No, that's great. I think that's fabulous. अच्छा therapeutic writing के बारे में क्या ख्याल है आपका आने वाले उस फील्ड में भी do you think
नहीं
you'd
नहीं
at
नहीं
some
नहीं
point
नहीं
of time you would? No?
no, 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 that's
कभी आपकी stories therapeutic भी हो सकती हैं?
I think I spoke about it that someone did feel that it
Hmm.
was therapeutic and जो
Right.
उसमें
नहीं but
लिखा था
आपका
that was
intention आपको
not
लगता है आप उस
never.
intention से कभी लिखोगे? Do you think you'll write?
Hmm. I don't think people लिखते कैसे हैं, उनके पास कहाँ से आती है नॉलेज लिखने की, ये मेरे को नहीं समझ आता है. आई मीन आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट दे डोंट हैव इट, बट आई डोंट गेट इट बिकॉज मेरे में
Yeah.
नहीं है
Yeah.
इतना ज्ञान कि मैं किसी को थेरेपी दे सकूं, मेरे में नहीं है.
Therapy दे सकता
I
हूँ.
can give them those mind fuck situations, और
Yeah.
उसमें से
Yeah.
अगर उन्होंने थेरेपी निकाल ली, that's
Amazing. That's
good job.
kudos.
Yeah.
No, this is great. Abhimanyu, I just can't stop talking to you. I feel like, I can just keep holding you more and more, but I do, respect your time limitations as well. At this note, I'd love to, you know, um, appreciate you for the kind of work that you're offering to the world out there. And, you know, coming from Jammu and Kashmir, it brings more joy and more pride in my heart because that's where I belong. So I'd say thank you so much for this wonderful conversation, and your work kind of reminds us of the stories that don't always comfort, really, but sometimes they challenge, disturb, and awaken us also, right? So, to everyone listening out there, may you find courage to ask better questions and, eventually start writing like Abhimanyu did. He definitely is an inspiration for a lot of people out there. And that brings us to the end of the show. I am, definitely flashing your book names also there. Do you want to quickly flash your, your the three the final book, the Songs of the Barbers Tuesday? Do you want to flash that for you if you have it in hardcover, right?
I would love to. So it's not on hardcover at all because it's just
It's a
one
Kindle,
song
yeah.
and then yeah. So it'll
It's a
all you
Kindle
can read
edition.
it on your favorite devices. You just
Yeah,
need to download one app, that is Kindle
yeah,
app, and you can
yeah.
read it on your tab or your cell phone.
Hmm.
And I will show you what it looks like.
Yeah, you'd love to see
Uh,
the cover page.
yes. So if you again have to give me a second.
Yeah, yeah, please take your time. And the third one's going to be the Beyond Three Words is a hardcover too, right?
Yes, Beyond Three Words is on every book is on Kindle and it has a
Hard.
hard copy,
Yes.
except Songs of a Barber's Tuesday because it's too short to get printed. So
Correct.
once I have good collection of 6 or 7 songs,
Hmm.
I think some publisher would be interested in. Otherwise it's a risk for him to just send 45 pages or something like that.
Right, right.
It's not a good business.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm taking some time, but
No, no, it's
just
okay. It's okay. This happens. This happens. It's all right. Please take your time.
oh, I just I think I lost my battery on the whole
Oh,
thing.
did you? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. I will still be flashing your.
I'll share it. I'll share the cover with you.
Yeah, no
And
problem. I'm going to be
once you
flashing it on the video, and
yeah.
I'm going to put the Amazon link for the three books also.
Oh, that
Thank you so much, Abhimanyu. I'm Sonakshi Sharma, and this is I've Got a Vibe. Stay curious and keep your vibe alive. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.